YouTube, back with another video here. This video is also a little long, so I'm definitely not gonna watch all of it. But is cheating always wrong? Middle ground. By this channel called Jubilee. The original link will be in the description down below. But I don't really got too much to say on it specifically, but I know it's an interesting topic, so we're just gonna jump right into it.
Person that you cheated on needs to know. So if you're gonna say like, I'm not gonna tell them because of psychological damage, it's honestly, you're not even taking accountability for what you did.
Yeah. Hold on. Let's hear what she said.
So if you're gonna say like, I'm not gonna tell them because of psychological damage, it's honestly, you're not.
I've never heard anyone say it like that. I've never heard that before. Well, I've heard people say that, but not to cause psychological damage.
Not even taking accountability for what you did.
Yeah. Hold on.
You chose to cheat.
Disclosing that you cheated to the person that you cheated on is not accountability. That is just revealing.
That is taking accountability. I would consider that as a form of taking accountability. You're so open.
That's delivering
open
news.
about this. That
Maybe
is
it's
a
the
form
first
of
step
taking
towards accountability.
Thank you.
Maybe it's the first step.
Hi, I'm Gen, and I explore social and controversial issues through both sides. And today I'll be moderating this middle ground episode of Cheaters versus Cheated On. We'll be
okay, cheaters. They were both cheaters, but okay. Somehow both of the cheaters were arguing. Okay, cheated on, cheaters.
exploring topics such as the personal experiences of people cheating, the emotional toll that it takes on relationships, and why exactly do people cheat.
Okay.
The first prompt is, I would forgive my partner if they cheated on me. Agreeers, please step forward.
Wait, hold on.
Do people cheat? The first prompt is, I would forgive my partner if
I would forgive my partner if they cheated on me. 31 out of this group. Oh, well, never mind, not out of this group. 31% said yes, 69% said no. Okay. It's usually common to forgive, and it's also common to not forgive. Like, of course, more people usually don't forgive, but, you know.
they cheated on me.
It's not uncommon to forgive.
Please step forward.
Okay.
I feel like from the side of being cheated on, I think the biggest thing to understand is that forgiveness is something that everybody does deserve. I think that once we get into the discussion of why somebody cheated, we can really understand whether or not that person is sympathetic.
Wait, did he step forward?
I feel like
Forgive my partner if they cheated on me. Agreeers, please step forward.
Okay, he did step forward. Okay. My bad, y'all.
I feel like from the side of being cheated on, I think the biggest thing to understand is that forgiveness is something that everybody does deserve. I think that once we get into the discussion of why somebody cheated, we can really understand whether or not that person is sympathetic and whether or not that person is somebody that you want to keep around in your life. But I think forgiveness and keeping them in that same relationship are not synonymous. They go separately.
I completely agree. However, I do think that forgiveness is something that we give to ourselves, not necessarily somebody else. So in the event that
she's low-key spitting a little bit, hear that one more time.
this is something that we give to, I completely agree. However, I do think that forgiveness is something that we give to ourselves, not
she's spitting a little bit.
necessarily somebody else. So in the event that my husband cheats on me, I would be giving him forgiveness so that I could set myself free from any hostility or anger that I may hold on to in the event.
I think it should benefit both sides in that sense. Now, whether that other person takes it and uses it to their benefit, you can't control that, and it shouldn't be up to you to try and.
But my brother, it can't benefit both sides. Now, he's on the cheated on side, okay? My brother, you wouldn't really be receiving no benefits. You could be given maybe reassurance, or you guys could talk about it, you have some understanding, but you don't have no real benefits from that, bro. You're the one cheated on, right? Y'all talk about it, you understand, and let's say you forgive, right? But you are now in a whole nother mindset. Your mindset is, well, she cheated on me. She told me why. But now you have no idea. You have no idea on whether she's going to cheat again. Now, like, that's just going to be a constant thought. Maybe not in the front of your mind, but in the back of your mind, you'll always be wondering, will she do it again? And if she does, will it be a different reason? Will there be no reason? Like, I don't know. I just don't see a benefit on both sides. Now, understanding is important, but there's no benefit for you. I don't know.
Push that. But yes, also making sure that forgiveness is for yourself as well, so you can move forward, whether it be with that person or alone, and not take that burden on to the next relationship if that relationship doesn't work out.
I completely agree. And I forgive because I've been forgiven. So, and I'm a Christian, so I believe in forgiveness. I believe that we should forgive people. Because we have been forgiven.
You know, you can have short-term forgiveness and long-term forgiveness. And, you know, it's like, are you addressing the root of the issue? And really, if you're truly forgiving, forgiveness is something that comes with maturity and with life experience.
I've had somebody forgive me, but like, it didn't stay the same. Like, they forgave, right? But like, the energy didn't stay the same over time, you know? Ultimately, that energy changed.
The whole circle of forgiveness, you get so much and you release the other person and yourself from anything, and then you can move forward from that point.
One thing that is interesting, though, is that there are 3 people from the cheater side who
and in case y'all was wondering, no, it wasn't. Never mind.
Have sat down, but only one on the cheated on.
That is interesting.
I guess I'd be curious to hear more so about your guys' experiences, because it seems like in this instance you were cheated on.
Yes.
So I cheated on him.
Yes.
And he forgave me. But I guess I'll let you explain that.
She cheated on. Okay.
It's a step-by-step process. It's not anything that does happen instant. And for us, that was something that we did step by step. And as you said, getting down to the root of it was a big thing, to where all questions have been answered. All things that were left up to an idle mind are no longer there. And so by getting down to the root of it, I can also figure out, were there some areas that as a husband, I did not uphold what I needed to be? It might have been that you might have felt emotionally you couldn't feel like you can come to me.
So do you see, you can't think like that, gang. You can't think about what I should have did better. Look, when you are in a relationship with somebody, flaws and all, because there are definitely flaws on both sides, let me take that back. You can think about what you could have done better for certain situations, but you can't think that way if someone cheats on you. Because when you're cheating on somebody, whether you had too much to drink or you had too much fun, or it was just a choice because you have become attracted to someone else, like any of those choices, your first thought shouldn't be, what should you have done better? Because if you're thinking about what you should have been upholding or doing better, now you're trying to find ways on how you could have avoided that scenario. I was told that there are some scenarios you can't avoid. So if something's going to happen, you can't try to stop it from happening. Like, you can try, but ultimately you would just be hurting yourself doing that. That's what I've been told.
I feel like you have equal blame in the cheating that occurred.
Can I interrupt? I think that bringing the conversation to the concept of blame, I think you actually kind of have to understand the purpose of blame. And I think that the purpose of blame is to shift responsibility. When I have conversations around cheating, I really like to steer clear of the blame game, because the truth is, like, we all played a part. Society included.
Wait. I'm sorry. What did she just say?
I really like to steer clear of the blame game, because the truth is, like, we all played a part.
Did she say we all, like, if someone cheats on you, is she saying both of you guys play a role in why they cheated? If you really believe that, yes, in the comments. I really hope I don't see a yes. I really don't. But if you do, that's just your opinion. But no, it's still choice. It is still by choice. Ultimately, we cannot blame people for the choices we make. Now, if there's something they did that ultimately steered your choice, okay, that makes sense. But you can't just say, well, I made my decision because of that or because of what they did. No, your choice is still yours alone. Like,
society included.
Can we have the disagreeers please step forward?
Yeah, let's hear them. Let's hear them out.
Just to go back to kind of the imbalance that we saw there, I'd be curious to hear from the cheated on.
I gotta listen a little bit harder though to make sure I'm not.
There's a few things I heard that I found interesting. One, you said about not using the blame game, and then also when you said about you felt like you may have had something to do with not being
don't think like that,
a husband or whatever it may be.
Don't ever think like that, my brother.
And those are things I kind of disagree with. Like, I know most of us walk with good intentions in life, right? We're all trying to be a good person, yes? Mm-hmm. Or maybe not. But at the most part, you start off that way, right? But I guess the way I live my life, I don't give anybody any excuse to do something wrong to me.
Right.
So if you do something wrong to me, you had to kind of go out of your way to do that. And this idea that you start saying, well, it must have been something I did. It actually might not have been. It might have been just the other person wasn't where you were at as a human being. Right. And also the other thing I heard was about, forgiving for yourself.
She did not like that answer. Look at that. Look at that.
As a human being. And also the other thing I heard was about,
She ain't like that answer. Not gang. Ma'am, you cannot be mad that what he's saying could be true. Because when it does come to cheating on somebody, again, people like her or just other people in general will think, no, everyone plays a part. Everyone does not play a part. When you choose who you want to date, who you want to marry, does everyone play a part in who you choose? No, it's your decision and yours alone. That is your decision and your decision alone. Like who you choose to date, who you choose to marry, your decision alone. There's not a full team effort on that decision. Like, you're not going up to that person saying, I want to date you. And then you're like, well, what do you think? Because I definitely want to date you. But what do you think? Like, you're not looking for a team answer. It's an answer. It's yours. And I'm low-key yapping and not letting the video play, but I don't know.
Forgiving for yourself. I've never understood that statement. They did something wrong, I'm just going to move on. I'm not going to hold any ill will to you. It just happened.
Can I respond to that?
But you're just
I actually agree with the two things you said about the forgiveness. I have never understood that either. I just feel like, for me, if it works for other people, that's great. I actually have found healing in not forgiving people. And I think there's a difference. I think I choose not to forgive them, and then eventually I am indifferent towards them, is what I'm saying. I think there's a difference between not forgiving someone and hating someone.
And I think most of that comes from usually the person who cheated.
Look, I like his first response, but the second response, bro, you just don't want to forgive. Like, forgiving people just isn't your style. That's all it is. Forgiving is a good thing, because when you're able to forgive somebody, it shows that your heart is like bigger than the situation. Now, if you choose to not forgive, that doesn't mean your heart isn't bigger than the situation, but you're just not willing to like put in that effort. You feel me? Which is fine. Like, if you're willing to just cut off the tie, that's a normal response too. You could definitely do that.
Saying, forgive for yourself, or you never hear it coming from the actual person who got cheated on. And again, to that point, it seems it's always connected to, if you don't forgive, you're holding on to some ill will. No, I just don't think about it. It's done, and I'll just move on with life.
At least for me, I think that it comes back around to honesty. Any of us that were cheated on, I don't think it's any of our responsibility that our partner chose to be dishonest with us about anything. Because even if you assume that, it was something you did, maybe you weren't being open enough, or maybe the conversation wasn't happening that needed to happen, it's still not your responsibility fully, I don't think. You can't force anyone to be faithful or to be honest or to be true.
And that's the interesting part, that, somebody gets cheated on, thinks, well, what did I do? Like, they should never think that.
With the early part of our marriage, what I thought a husband was, I go out, I make the check, and I come home and have sex. I'm just being completely honest.
I mean, that is a poor way to think of what a husband should be, but everyone has their own idea of what a husband should be. I still don't see how this leads to you thinking what you should have did better. Like, I get it. I get in terms of like what he could have done different as a husband, but in terms of cheating specifically, if we're talking about being happy, that's different. If you want to think of different ways or different things you could bring to the table for her to be happy, that's great. But cheating is different. It's not about her being happy anymore. It's about the decision she or whoever it was made.
I didn't see nothing else emotional that I needed to bring to the table. So that does not make an excuse for somebody to go out and do something. Yes, we should go ahead and have communication. We should try to learn how to grow within this. But I feel like that was the importance of trying to figure out where did I have any type of flaw as a husband? Because even if we would have decided we're not going to work it out, I don't want to go and keep recreating the same type of marriage.
I just want to say, I think it's really interesting that you're the only person from the cheated on and I was the only person from the cheated side. And speaking from my personal experience, because my partner also used to be a cheater, and we came together, and, you know, maybe part of it is just us growing up, you know, or we committed to each other, but we consciously made the decision to grow together, grow separately. And so I think if he were to cheat on me, I would not be able to forgive that, because it's like, well, we promised each other this growth, and we've put all, it would be less about the cheating itself.
Okay, so more about the vow, like, but then some relationships don't do that. Some relationships don't talk about this type of stuff.
I think for me, and more about the breaking the promise of the growth that we've made. And it's like, well, how am I supposed to trust you now?
For my specific experience, it was more of a physical thing. I was a virgin and I wasn't ready to do that yet. And the guy I was with was a couple years older than me, and he went out and did that. And I could never forgive him because the physical thing was something that we could never fix. I wasn't gonna have sex with him, you know? So forgiveness for me was very hard because there was nothing to work on for me. So there was nothing to improve.
Oh my gosh, what did I do to my screen, y'all?
That relationship, so it was over.
Some just happened to my screen because now my screen's black. Y'all probably don't see it, but
I'm just curious.
Oh my gosh. My bad, y'all. I'm back, but my screen went out.
Curious if he had, I have no idea what your relationship was like.
Go for it.
If he had come to you and said, I love you, I care about you, this is something that I really need, how would you feel about, like, you know, allowing him to go out and do that? Or would you like, we should just break up then?
Totally. I mean, I think that I was getting to the point of potentially being ready. But after he did that with someone else, then I was like, okay, no. And I literally did not speak to a man for like 3-4 years. Like, it was a very emotionally traumatizing for me. I was only 16.
Okay, we saw that. I saw that ad coming.
Cheating.
Oh, whoa.
Back to the episode. Emotional cheating.
Emotional cheating is, oh no. I have an old boy, right? Like, I have an old friend that talked to me about emotional cheating. And I was listening to what he had to say. But during this time, he was like the only one that really talked about emotional cheating to me. So I never really looked too much into it, since he was the only person that really talked to me about emotional cheating.
Is worse than physical cheating.
Okay.
I kind of want to see if what
worse. I've been cheated on twice in the past year.
Wait.
Emotional cheating is worse than physical cheating.
Okay, so yes, like they're saying yes, it is. I wonder what his response would be. Physical or emotional? He only talked to me about emotional. I wonder what would be worse for him. But
okay.
They think emotional is worse.
I've been cheated on twice in the past year. The first was physical, the second was emotional. And to me, well, I don't want to bring it back to Jillian while she's standing over there, but we were talking about like the concept of virginity, and she was only 16. Like the physical cheating aspect, I was cheated on because I wasn't, I suppose, being sexual enough, despite the communication that we had going on. I was just kind of being lied to the whole time. But emotionally, for me, that's what relationships are built on. So lying about something like that, or like having someone else on the side that you're giving those parts of you to, when I truly just want to like know the inner depths of like your being, because we are in a relationship, it's just worse to me.
Okay, that's...
You hesitated to come up.
Oh, I hesitated to come up because I think the word worse is like, it implies that there is a level of significance to whether you act on it or...
Ma'am, you do not need to break down the word every single time. She's done that twice now.
Not, and I think ultimately cheating comes down to managing your own thought life. And as far as what you said about you not meeting his physical needs, I'd like to
it was her, but yeah.
Oh, her, sorry.
You're good, same deal.
I'd love to shirk that off of you, because what somebody else does in life is a reflection of them, not a reflection of you. So like, as far as the, oh, I didn't meet physical needs of my partner, I think you can't really say that, because if they weren't vocal about it, right?
Absolutely, which is like, that was the main reason, and one of the only reasons.
But it's still a reason though. Look, we can't pretend like it wasn't a reason. Not that it made the reason right. But people can still have reasons, is what I'm saying. Whether it was because they just wanted to, or because they felt themselves getting less attracted to their partner. You know what I'm saying? Don't brush it off as that can't be a reason because it's a reflection of them and not you, you know.
Reasons that we broke up, and I called it off, and I was still never apologized to. It was never acknowledged that it even happened.
Yeah.
Because that betrayal was so tangent, it was a lot easier for me to let go of it. But having like a deep emotional connection with someone, I like tried again with an ex, and then I ended up getting emotionally cheated on. I had much more of a deeper investment in the character of that person, and I cared very deeply about where we were going in life and how we were growing together, and to sort of have that growth cut off, you know, is something different entirely. I do like what you said though about using the word worse, and like how
there's like a level of significance to betrayal, whether it's actually executed with your body or not.
Yeah.
I think that
it's still betrayal.
Yeah, it's still a betrayal, right?
So I have a long history of cheating, unfortunately, and I have both physically cheated and emotionally cheated. The way my various partners responded was different. I don't think that it's fair to say one is worse than the other.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Right, because it's a perspective thing. Not that there can't be a worse, but like, it's hard for there to be a worse when they're like two different things. Like physically and emotionally cheating are pretty much two different things. Like they're in two different leagues, so it's kind of hard to scale which one is really worse. Now, whether you say which one is worse or better, you're going off of your own experience here.
First, I was standing back there, I'm like, physical has to be worse, but then I'm like, everybody has a different standard or a different experience. Yeah. I can't say what's worse for somebody else, what maybe for me. The other thing is, I'm not sure I even know what emotional cheating actually is.
That's what
I'm sitting there, what is emotional cheating?
What that means at all.
So emotional cheating, like when, let's say, you're going to someone and talking to them about...
Entertaining is the short answer. Entertaining anything without it being physical. That's emotional cheating. Because you are entertaining an idea or a conversation with somebody, or just them, without actually touching each other.
About the problems in your relationship, and they're offering that advice about the problems. Let's say you're going to someone and talking to them about the problems in your relationship, and they're offering that advice. They're offering you comfort.
They're giving you everything that you want.
Yeah, that you're desiring at that point when you're actually supposed to be going to your spouse.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm not even cutting this out. Hold on. That's kind of how he explained it to me too. A type of relationship where someone forms a close emotional connection with someone other. Developing that interferes with. Okay, the way she said it is different. Like, entertaining is just one of those things, and the way she said it is that you're just building you're building a connection with somebody else that's not your partner, but you're building that connection not physically, but emotionally. And I guess there's just different ways. She actually explained it the way he did. Yeah.
Or to the person that you're with.
I agree with you, but I would take that a step further and say you can emotionally cheat and they not know about your spouse or your partner. It's about having a relation, you're talking to them the way you talk to your partner. Because I have my high school sweetheart. I was in love with someone else. I was in love with two people at the same time. It was very complicated. But before anything ever physically happened, I was emotionally cheating on my boyfriend at the time because I was talking to this guy like he was my boyfriend too, even though we weren't together. And I know people who have divorced, who have left their marriages because it was I've fallen in love with someone else, even though we've never done anything physical. Whereas by that same token, you can also have a one-night stand and it be purely physical and not emotional cheating at all.
It's funny because it seemed like you're describing when you're trying to get to know about somebody because you want to date them. So that's why it's kind of really.
Let me help you.
But it's always not like that. Off her first explanation, you don't have to be wanting to get to date them. It could just be a natural thing, and you guys just naturally get closer. It's unintentional at first, and then it becomes intentional, if that makes sense. It starts unintentionally, and then it could become intentional. It doesn't always have to be, I think I want to date them,
Yeah, it's kind of confusing me.
Emotional cheating begins when you have a relationship with somebody that your partner is not aware of.
Okay.
And a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
So for me, I think lots of things. I look at lots of people. I expect that whoever I'm with is thinking whatever they're thinking while they're looking at people. And relationships that we all have with each other, for me, my girlfriends and I've been cheated on and cheated, and it's all complex and complicated and based on a case basis until they take action, some kind of action where they're physically engaging with another person. They're not cheating on me as far as I'm concerned because they're living life as a human being and they're just feeling and thinking and fantasizing.
Now, this is an older dude, but if you have a partner, you text somebody, right? Y'all text, y'all get close. Let's say y'all cool. Let's say y'all talk about certain things you don't talk about with your partner. They could either be sexual things or y'all just talking extra nice to each other, more than what normal friends would do, You know what I mean? What is that? That's just living as a human being? I don't know. This is an older dude though. So.
And doing all the things that we all do because we're human beings, and that's what we do.
And that's how you feel.
That's how I feel about it. That's why I said it about 3 or 4
times. As someone who has cheated, did you feel, if you've ever felt some type of way, whether it be guilt or anything, did you feel worse about emotionally cheating or physically cheating?
I've never emotionally cheated. I'm a human being and I live my life. And if I think something or I have a relationship with her where I'm telling her about my relationship and I'm falling in love with her, that's okay. I can feel that, but until I do something about it, I haven't cheated. I haven't done anything to my partner.
That's just being unloyal. You know what? You're right. You didn't cheat. You're just being unloyal. Bingo.
I've been cheated on multiple times, So it's just and it's always been a physical thing, and it's really hurt me. And that's why I think the physical is worse for me personally than maybe the emotional would be. But I can totally see both sides because emotional is difficult too. But for me, the thing that sets my romantic relationship apart from a best friendship is the intimate, physical stuff. For me, I can have tight relationships with other guys, but I'm not going to go sleep with them because I'm not romantically involved.
Oh, I'm still very close with my high school sweetheart.
Totally.
We're very good friends.
Yes, and I have exes too that I can be like, we're chill, you know, but I'm not gonna go hook up with you in the car, like, you know what I mean?
Right,
like,
and we have that trust. Like I said, I think at the end of the day, it's situational. It's for some people, emotional cheating might be worse. For some people, physical cheating might be worse. For some people, it's the same.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next prompt.
Okay.
I would date someone who cheated on others in the past.
I would date someone who cheated on others in the past. 53% said yes. 47% said no. This one is a little interesting. You're dating them, but you know they've cheated on other people in the past. How far does this go?
That was
I
so
said
fast.
I wasn't.
I can't hear it.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Ultimately, y'all, I might make a part 2 and then upload it tomorrow, okay?
A person's past is indicative of who they were at that point in time, not necessarily who they want to become or who they are in the present moment. And I think what's most important is who we are in the present moment.
I agree too, because I believe people can change. I changed, so I believe that. Now, can you make someone change? Like, you know, obviously not, but I agree with that.
Yeah. No, I agree wholeheartedly. I feel like if somebody did something, you know, say for example in their 20s and they're in their mid 30s now, I can't hold them to that past.
Right.
There's things that I've done, and so I feel like it would be wrong for a person to say, hey, you can't change, you can't come out of that, and so who am I to say I'm not going to date you because you did something to somebody else? And I think those are things that you would only figure out like the surface level stuff early on anyway, before you get down to the deeper details.
I am currently dating somebody who used to cheat, maybe even worse than I did. And I mean, to your point about cheating in your 20s, I think the last time I cheated on anybody was maybe like 5 to 7 years ago. And, you know, like I was saying before, my partner and I, we made a commitment to each other to help each other be the best versions of ourselves that we can be. And I'm very secure in my relationship. I have my moments, but that has more to do with like me than it does him. When he goes out, I'm like, oh, see you later. Like it doesn't, there's no doubt in my mind that he is faithful.
Since I began my marriage as an...
I'm gonna cut her off real quick. Saying yes to date someone who's cheated in the past, it's really just a risk. Well, it's really you taking a risk. Cause yeah, people can change and yada yada, but you don't really know if they are the same person from back then or not. People are able to hide stuff. Some people are really good at hiding things, so it's up to you to decide whether you like take the risk or not. Because again, just as people can change, which is true, people can fool you. People could fool you very, very good and you won't even know. So it's more of a risk thing, at least in my opinion.
Affair. The man that I have been with for the last 10 years is the man that I cheated with. I proceeded to have 3 of his babies, and we now have a fabulous life. But in the beginning, the amount of paranoia and anxiety that came from the fact that you cannot control anybody else's behavior but your own was insane. And so I think coming to terms with accepting the realization that what is inside of my control and what is outside of my control was liberating.
I'm interested to hear the disagreeers because again, I think we have 3 people on the cheater side and then 1 on the cheated on. So disagreeers, please step forward.
I don't disagree. I didn't hear the prompt. So
I think I honestly.
I mean, everything everybody said sounds great on a Christmas card, I guess. If I'm being honest, because at the end of the day, I think, I don't say that disrespectfully. I mean, at the end of the day, we all still are human beings, right? And we go off experience, okay? For instance, in my situation, I was married, but at the time, I didn't know how many times prior to that she cheated, right? So again, when you meet somebody, you don't straight away know off the bat, oh, they've been cheating. As you go along and as you go through the situation, you start to go back to this conversations and stories you've had, and it's like, oh, that was the behavior that was always there, you just didn't know it, right? Would you take a banker who's stolen money in the past? You're kind of gonna be like, I don't think I'm gonna do that. Like, so I think it's situational and how you meet the person and how you grow. Like, even you said, you had your affair and now you're married with 10 years with 3 kids, it grew into something, but you started off with paranoia, but it grew into something real, right? So I think it's, again, very situational.
I mean, it was even real in the affair, okay? So like, I kind of want to get ahead of the narrative that like people fall in love when they cheat because it's a fantasy. And I think if it were a fantasy, it wouldn't hurt so bad, right?
Wait. Let's hear that one more time.
It was even real in the affair, okay? So like, I kind of want to get ahead of the narrative that like people fall in love when they cheat because it's a fantasy. And I
mean, that's definitely not true. So I guess I'm agreeing with what she's saying.
I think if it were a fantasy, it wouldn't hurt so bad, right?
Well, no, that's just your guilt, whether it's a fantasy or not. I mean, that's just your guilt at the end of the day. Unless you're heartless. If you're heartless, no guilt.
So I really like to keep it in the reality sector just because I think it invalidates the experience. And what you just shared actually hits on the fact that your ex-wife, your ex-wife had serial cheating. And I am of the belief that serial cheating exists if you don't understand why you do it. So if we do not actually do the deep dive and understanding why we behave the way that we behave, we'll never be able to correct. So from the beginning, she was deceitful with you, right? Like, I think that if I get the opportunity in the future.
But that is why he said it is situational, ma'am. You just said it. It sounds like she's been from the beginning. He didn't know that. And if we're going based off of situation, if he would have known that, he would have said, well, maybe not. You know? I believe that's why he said it depends on the situation in the first place. For example, you might run into somebody who's real great, but then they tell you, I've cheated in just about every relationship. You now have a decision to make. Whereas they don't tell you that info and you find out later. You have another decision to make. But ultimately, your answer might still be the same, you know? So
to go into another relationship, which it's already disclosed on the internet, so whatever. But I'm going to be upfront, you know? Like, I have a history of deceiving people I love, and I am capable of it.
I'm curious, do any of you guys have kids?
We do.
Yes, we do.
And I think that brings up a whole other dynamic for me when I went through mine, because I had kids involved, and that was kind of like, and you know, it's like, not saying that's worse or better, because cheating is cheating regardless. But again, being real and being a human being, you're gonna react a different way because you've got kids involved.
So I'm gonna.
Do you think you're gonna be a lot more, you know, when you go and date again, would you be a lot more stringent on your requirements than now that you do have your own kids?
I think that's just a natural thing. Not saying that's justifiable, but like, you're gonna have standards. You've been through one thing, there's certain things that you're gonna not tolerate. The whole dating thing is kind of put on hold because my focus is on kids, especially in a society that downplays fathers in their kids' lives. And because I came from a two-parent household, I'm very like, I'm going to be there for my kids no matter what. Like, even right now, if they're called right now, I'll be out of here.
I want to hear more from the disagreeers. Is that like a requirement now that if they were a cheater in the past, you won't even consider dating them, or is it case by case?
It's interesting. For me, I think it is case by case. The main reason for me disagreeing with this prompt is because it's about the serial cheating thing. Like, the person who physically cheated on me was a serial cheater before me and has continued to be, like, since our breakup. And I would never, ever, ever touch that with a 10-foot pole again.
I was a serial cheater.
How'd you change?
Well, here's the thing.
How'd you change?
I'm about to say, yeah.
Yeah, I'll get to that. I'm the only child of a single mom. So there was no father at home. There was no example of what a healthy relationship is in terms of a man and a woman. So, and I grew up with a lot of female energy. So I had aunts and grandmothers and stuff who were all raising me. So I had a very emotional aspect to my being. And so because of that, I craved female attention. And so whenever females would give me attention, it was just like, oh, if they wanted to do whatever, I was on board. I'm like, let's go, it's life, and this is great. And then after after starting to mature and grow up a little bit, I'm like, this doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel like the right thing to do, I can't even.
So I think he's saying he just learned head on. Like, he didn't specifically learn from anybody what it's like to be loyal without a father figure in the household. So he's basically saying he had to find out the hard way, right and wrong.
Explain it. It just kind of descended into my being, and I was like, this is not you. You're not this person. And that's where I found one sense of my character and integrity about myself.
I am also a serial cheater, and my partner was a serial cheater as well. And we were very honest with each other in the beginning. As soon as it was serious, hey, I have this history. Oh, me too. And he was able to communicate to me, this is why I made these horrible choices. So I am confident that he wouldn't make those choices again.
For those who see.
Okay, again, do you really think there is always a valid reason why people cheat? If you're this far in the video, put a yes or no and explain why, but there does not have to be a valid reason every time someone cheats on you. No one's brought that up yet.
You have been serial cheaters and now found themselves or gone through and understand. I guess, what would you say to...
Basically, my point in that, my point in that was sometimes it is unavoidable. So you cannot always avoid what they will do next, because these were the 3 reasons why I cheated before. Let's avoid those things. And
the people who have been serial cheated on, because it's interesting, like, you guys have gone through something and you figured stuff out, and you always hear those people who are like, why am I always finding that guy or that girl, and they're always cheating on me? Like, how, what do you say to them?
And I'm speaking from experience, not with cheating, but with other things, that sometimes when someone has trauma from a relationship, that you enter your next relationship thinking, oh, this person's gonna save me. This is gonna be the person who fixes my trauma. And it becomes this cycle of trauma where that person then is like, oh, this person thinks of me as their savior, and they'll take advantage of that. And that is not, I'm not victim blaming. That is not to say that, and it's your fault.
No, but that's a relationship thing.
Yeah.
What you're talking about is like, in relationships, when you find yourself finding the same kind of people, you have to stop finding people and go, what is it about me? What do I have to figure out about me and what's going on? And how I feel about other people and what my boundaries are, and all kinds of things. Yeah.
It's the types of energy that you might be unconsciously looking
attracting.
For.
Yeah.
Not even necessarily attracting, but sometimes when a person is traumatized in a certain way, unconsciously you will chase that
looking
trauma over and over again.
Yeah.
But I think what you said about boundaries, that is the key. And I think a lot of people don't understand that boundaries is not saying you can't do this, because you can't control other people like you're saying. A boundary is if you do this, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. It's the consequence of the person crossing that boundary.
There are much worse things that can break a
Patreon exclusive. Oh my gosh, bro.
Relationship than
there are much worse things that could break a relationship than
cheating.
Join our Middle Ground Patreon to watch this exclusive prompt.
It's okay to express.
I need the Patreon. I was gonna enjoy that topic because I was gonna think, my opinion to that last topic that's on their Patreon, mine would have been yes, but it depends on what it is and how long that issue lasts. That would have been my opinion on that.
It's attraction to others while in a relationship.
As the only person from
It's okay to express attraction to others while in a relationship. Okay, so this won't be too long. This will be the last topic currently, and then I'll upload the rest tomorrow. Yeah.
The cheated on section. I think that it is okay because personally for me, again, like talking about how I think that relationships are built on honesty and communication, I would rather know that you have attraction to someone than you just keep that on the back burner and not tell me. Like, let me know. Like, let me know. Attraction is human. Love is only human. Desire is human. I'm not.
I understand the being upfront about it, but don't stay in the relationship. This is what I do. If that were to somehow happen, it means up here's not ready to be just ready for one person and to stick with that one person. And it's true for some people, whether some people admit it or not, it is true. So if that's what's happening, don't stay in the relationship. Don't even try. Because up here, you're not ready to keep yourself attractively committed to one person. Because if you stay now knowing that, and you let them know and you guys talk about it, it could change how your relationship would work, you know?
Cheat on anyone. I have absolutely no plans to cheat on anyone. But like, if I found someone attractive, I would tell my partner. My current girlfriend is amazing, and I would hope that she would feel open in telling me that as well. And I like to open a lot of my conversation. I mean, a lot of my relationships with that conversation, and just like be like, hey, can you just like let me know if anything goes that way?
Well, I love what you just said because it really speaks volumes to your individual security in revealing your authentic self inside of your relationship. So well done, you. I also think that if we have an innate response to something that we see and we actually don't give it voice to it, we're ultimately putting ourselves in a place of denial. And denial is not just a river in Egypt. And what it ends up doing is you start suppressing yourself and making yourself smaller for the comfort of having your relationship, which then means your relationship becomes the goal rather than you being an individual who can be seen, valued, and understood inside of the relationship.
You know, me and my partner have shared these things, but like I also have struggled with my own insecurities. And so he always makes sure to add in like, but like you know. So I think it depends on who it is. But I think I agree that yes, it is obviously healthier to give voice, because then of course, like if I don't know, let's say my partner finds someone attractive and I catch him looking, and then I'm like, why are you know what I mean? And so then I might get suspicious. It's like, why have you not said anything to me?
But wouldn't you say that your insecurities are for you to manage, not your partner?
Oh yeah. No, yeah. No, I mean, that's
so him or her changing their behavior because of your insecurities would lead them to a place of inauthenticity.
Oh,
I mean, yeah and no. The point, besides loving someone or wanting to be with somebody, the point of being in a relationship is being able to adjust to one another. Now, you shouldn't want somebody to change how they are just so you guys could work being together. You guys may just not work being together. You know, I kind of agree with what she's saying, where she's saying, like, someone shouldn't have to change their behavior because of your insecurities, you know. But at the same time, this could ultimately determine how well your relationship would go moving forward. And if you don't want to change how you're doing things because of your insecurity, well, talk about it. Don't just say, well, I'm not going to do this because of how you feel. Like, that's something you got to figure out. Just help work on it, because ultimately while you're in a relationship, the idea is to help one another as well. So help each other out. Now, if you don't want to change anything, don't change anything. but come up with some alternatives to help one another out, because that is another point. Well, it's another idea of being in a relationship.
I want to make it very clear. I didn't ask him to do that.
Oh, okay.
That just comes from him. And maybe it comes from him because he knows I've struggled with insecurities, but I haven't said to him, and you need to do this. That's not, it's just him expressing himself.
You know, for me, it's like when I start a relationship, I want communication, you know, and it's very important that we're able to talk with each other about everything, because we're two human beings who have feelings. And unless you act on those feelings, you know, and sometimes I think talking about it can keep you from acting on it as well. You know, all that openness can keep things, you know, I think it can help.
Well, the partner that physically cheated on me, I don't know if she's fully polyamorous, but that's sort of where she tends to lean. And I knew that going in, but she was not being real with me about it. So, like, I would rather you come tell me when you find someone attractive and we discuss the possibility of even trying that than you to just go behind my back and not do that. Because I don't think that I'm poly, but like, I would rather have honesty and communication.
Sorry.
When you find going in, but I don't know if she's fully polyamorous, but that's sort of where she tends to lean. And I knew that going in, but she was not being real with me about it. So, like, I would rather you come tell me when you find someone attractive and we discuss the possibility of even trying that than you to just go behind my back and not do that. Because I don't think that I'm poly, but like, I would rather have honesty and communication, openness.
And that is cheating. I think if somebody is polyamorous and they're not honest,
it's just too bad that being honest with somebody is not that simple. Even the most honest of people can have trouble being honest sometimes. It just depends. But being honest about certain things is not as easy as people think. Otherwise, everyone could be just honest with each other.
Honest about it.
That is absolutely.
So yeah, we started off with that. But
because I am queer, I often will find like women and non-binary people attractive, and my partner is a male, and he's very okay with that, and not in like a gross, creepy way, but like he understands that like I'm also going to be attracted to like these other genders, and so us discussing, you know, who we find attractive is a very natural part of the
it's like discussing day-to-day life, I think.
And I reassure him too. I'm always like, you're the best.
I personally don't believe that there should be any attraction to anyone, while especially for marriage.
Now, I'm sorry that I'm cutting you off, but if we're talking about physically and you're finding somebody else physically attractive, I don't think the best decision would be, hey, I think he looks kind of good. I ain't gonna lie. Like, but this is just my opinion. I don't think that'd be the best idea. Now, if they're okay with it and just, okay, cool, and then they go and do the same thing to you, then hey, that's how y'all roll. But if that's really a thought you have, keep it to yourself. But if you plan to do more than just think they look good, you might want to do some things or talk about some things before even leading into the fact that you could end up cheating on this person with whoever you're finding attractive,
Speaking on marriage, we believe in monogamy. We believe in one, man and wife. And I do believe that we should not have any type of attraction to anyone. It leads to problems. It absolutely can lead to, even cheating. Yeah, if you are.
But being attracted to different people other than your partner, if you're not fully committed, is a natural thing. Because all of us like more than one thing. Now, there are a rare type of people where they don't like more than one thing. They only like this one thing right here. But ultimately, without discipline and commitment, a lot of us run around out here liking more than one thing. So being attracted to only your partner and making sure it's your partner only takes discipline and ultimately time too. Now, the only way it wouldn't take time is if you only want your partner and your partner only. That means you don't need time. You just have the discipline, and that level of attraction is just up there for you, you know?
If you're feeling that way in your relationship, then obviously that does need to be expressed. But that tells a lot about, you know, hey, there's something deeper going on in your relationship that needs to be fixed.
So you're saying, like, you walk down the street, you've never seen, you know, an attractive man and been like, oh, like, that man's hot. Never.
Discipline and self-control. Discipline and self-control. I'm not saying you're not disciplined if that's what you think, but you're choosing not to discipline yourself is what I'm saying.
I don't look at other men and think that, you know, I can't do that, especially being a Christian.
That's a discipline
I
thing.
I can't look at other men and say like, oh, that man is, you know, if I can't be sexually, I'm not sexually
because you're a Christian, or is it because you're you?
Now it's because I am a believer.
Well, as a Christian, you're not supposed to be doing that anyway, but you don't have to be Christian to think this way. Because like I said, for like the third time, it's also, you're choosing to discipline yourself.
And I do believe in the cross. I believe in Jesus Christ, and I believe that he is my savior. He's my Lord and Savior.
Same.
And I believe in the Bible. I believe in the whole.
I like how it's the same, but like they're opposites here, where it's completely natural to like more than one thing. Like
whole Bible, not just a little bit of the Bible, but the whole.
Okay, wow. That was a little shot right there.
Whole entire Bible.
Okay.
You could tell. She said the whole Bible, not a little bit.
It's funny because part of me is like, no, but part of me is like, yes, because we are human beings and attraction is part of life. So I will say that. It's funny, that worked against me, meaning most of us, when you go out and date somebody, I'm assuming you find them very attractive, right?
No one said it's
so
a
in my head,
thing, though.
I'm gonna
like, you're disciplining yourself to be only attracted to your partner, because you could be attracted to other people and you could know that in your mind, but it's up to your discipline to say, you know what, like, he may have some features my boyfriend or girlfriend don't got, but I'm gonna stick with my girl, you know? Not, oh yeah, like, I know he looks so good or she looks so good, but I'm with my partner, so I can't do anything with that. See, that's not disciplining yourself, you know?
I expect people to look at my wife or girlfriend as they're walking down the street, and, you know, even though sometimes it's rude to make certain comments, I've been in that, but I was the kind of person where I was like, I didn't care, because as far as I know, she's with me and she's going to get looks. But because I didn't react, that was a problem, because I didn't get jealous. And I'm like, why am I jealous? I'm with you. This is where I got confused. Are people just coming up in your relationship saying, hey, he's attractive, she's attractive, she's like, how does that work?
I mean,
guess, personally.
Yeah. My boyfriend's the same way. He is like, yeah, like, you know, he wants me to like go out and people look at me, and I think,
to be honest, I prefer the opposite. Now, when I say I prefer the opposite, I mean, I prefer, if you feel that way, don't make it known in my presence, because ultimately, I know how people would look at, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would know that, but I don't want you telling me that clearly. You feel me? And it's not even an insecure thing, but like, I'd want those comments to come from me, and me to, you feel me, not them to.
That's, of course, you know, sometimes I want him to be a little, of course, a little bit. Yeah. But I actually think that's right. I actually think that's a healthy way to go, is to be secure in the relationship, be like, yeah, my partner is hot and I get to be with them. I think that's a healthy way to go.
And the other question is this in the same line as emotional cheating? Because I've just kind of learned the definition of that, and then you just said that, and I'm seeing back, and I'm like, wait, this sounds like emotional cheating.
No, I would say emotional cheating is like.
Well, no. Emotional cheating involves building a connection with the person, not about whether they think someone's hot looking coming down the street. It's building a connection, more so.
you're developing a romantic connection with another person.
And emotional cheating is also secretive most of the cheating.
Okay.
A lot of having an open conversation with your partner about like, I mean, you watch a movie and you're like, oh, you know, the actress is kind of hot, you know?
Or, like with my current boyfriend, I am honest. We honestly make jokes about it sometimes. Like I was like, oh, are you into her? Are you into her? And he's like, no, you know, but like obviously I know that he like might think that she's pretty, but that's attraction. That's a physical attraction. There's so much more to a relationship that you can bank on. It's like an emotional thing, or like, are you there for me when I call you?
One question: do you think, based on that, do you think that's a healthier way? In that, you know, sometimes you might joke about it, that, you know, out of our choice that we might find someone attractive, or to just keep that hidden into yourself?
Well, okay, so I think you should definitely, like, if it's a celebrity or something, like, obviously I'm not gonna go and like, and two, I think too, like crushes. When you're saying attraction, there's attraction and then there's sexual attraction. So I think that there needs to be, they're two different.
Like, imagine hearing you say to somebody, yeah, I really like their personality. That's not anything sexual. That's just saying you like their personality. But she's saying anything like, ooh, I like his bod, I like how he look, or she, or whatever. That's sexual.
Different things. I used to tell him, like, oh my God, when I was little, I used to love like Raspy, Chris Brown, all of them. Like, I used to think that they were so, like, you know, handsome. But like in my marriage, I don't see another man and be like,
the discipline.
Like he is.
I have a question. I have a question.
Yeah.
If you guys are done talking, I don't want to interrupt.
Do you have something to say?
Yeah, and so I think that also defining it within your relationship is very important too. So like
totally, what
to
works
say
for you.
Exactly. So we may look at the terminology different, and so like for us, for example, if I say that I'm attracted to somebody, and we had to break this down even in our relationship. If I say I'm attracted to somebody, that means that I'm willing to pursue them just within us. That's what we came to an agreement of. Now I may say like, oh, they have a nice hairstyle, or they have nice eyes, or something like that. That's just a quick acknowledgement, and we may compliment them on it and just keep it moving. And that's just in our
my boy's cooking right here. My boy's cooking.
Definition of what we have within our marriage.
If you cheat on someone.
Okay, as interesting as this next version is right here, next topic, I'm going to cut it into tomorrow because it's already been a lot of footage right here, and I don't want y'all to like go through the entire thing and it's like, wow, why is the video so long? So I'm gonna cut it into tomorrow, make a part 2 and upload tomorrow. But I hope y'all have been enjoying this topic so far, because it's kind of interesting hearing all of their like different views on it. But until then, I'll see y'all later.
It's not in here. Y'all wasn't recording, were you? Oh, my bad.